What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the latest edition of Gin and Tonic. I'm your host, as always, John J. II, and we're coming at you again with a brand new episode today on a Friday, not on a Thursday. A little bit of a switch up, a little bit of a snafu, whatever you want to call it, coming at you on a Friday. So let's get right into it. Brass tacks time. Let's talk about Floyd Mayweather and Logan Paul making their fight debut, their bout, whatever you want to call it, this coming Sunday, June 6th at 8 p.m. at the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami Gardens, Florida. Very exciting stuff. Obviously, this is a major league fight. We're seeing a fighter of Logan Paul where he only has one sanctioned fight under his belt, where Floyd Mayweather has 50 fights, and their records are very much different. Floyd stands at 50-0. In sanctioned fights, and Logan is 0-1 after losing to KSI, a fellow YouTuber, lost to him, and that was a sanctioned fight, so that goes on his record. Not a great start for Logan in his boxing career, I guess if you want to call it that. So let's talk about this fight. So it's going to happen this Sunday, obviously. We're going to see fireworks. Those are actually Floyd's words, that we're going to see fireworks this coming Sunday, and basically he called it legal bank robbery. Why he called it that, I really don't know. He thinks it's an easy way to make money. If he sees an opportunity, he's a businessman. Obviously, the money team, he speaks on that name and that entire brand very highly, and he lives up to that name by doing what he can business-wise to increase his paychecks, increase his payroll, increase his net worth, whatever he's got to do. Now, obviously, to both these individuals, money really is no object. That's definitely the case for Floyd, and it's even the case for Logan, as he's become very successful in YouTube, and he's got his start on Vine back in the day, in the heyday of Vine, before TikTok came in and took over. I'm a firm believer, don't want to go off on a tangent here, but I think Vine would still be cool and it'd still be hip if it never went under. I don't know why it went under. Whatever happened, and it is no more. So TikTok is the new Vine. That is what it is. So let's talk about this fight. This fight is not sanctioned. So there's a lot of people asking me, well, what are the odds for this fight? What are the odds? What are the odds? The odds are non-existent yet. The Action Sportsbook has released odds. You cannot bet this fight in the United States, unfortunately, and the only way the fight will be determined is by a knockout. So if you live in Europe, you live in Australia, you live in Asia, you live in the Soviet Union, you can bet this fight no problem. If you live in the United States, however, you can't. The reason being is it is not a sanctioned fight by the Florida State Boxing Commission. Kind of a little bit of a downer, I guess, if you want to call it that. There's going to be a lot of upsets that happen. If they're not sanctioned, you can't bet them in the United States. It just is what it is, because everyone needs their cut. Vegas needs their cut. We got a first-hand view of that when Bree and I went to Vegas this past week. A little bit dicey over there. Video coming soon. So let's just look at the odds for what Action Sportsbook released. So they have Floyd Mayweather at minus 714, which I thought was a very weird number to kind of put out there. And they have Logan Paul at plus 400, and they put a little percentage, a little bit of a prediction statistic there. They have Paul at 18.6% chance to win, and Floyd at 4% chance to win. So where they get those numbers, I don't know. The odds are a completely different story. Who's making these odds? It can't be Vegas, because they're not going to put a minus 714 on there. And it's not sanctioned, so you can't bet it in the United States. Vegas probably didn't make the odds anyway. So it is what it is. What are my takeaways? Everyone's wondering, what are my takeaways from this fight? Well, obviously, Floyd Money Mayweather is the favorite of the fight. He is a long and beyond favorite to win this fight for obvious reasons. Look at his record. Doesn't have a loss on it. Very scratchless. And he's looking very good. He's still healthy. Hasn't fought in a while. Logan's coming out for vengeance. He's looking to make history. But there's a lot of bad blood between these two individuals. Now, if you saw the kind of face-off, the pre-face-off before the weigh-ins, Logan Paul took Floyd Mayweather's hat, and there was a fight that ensued shortly after that. So there's a lot of bad blood here. Floyd said publicly that he does not respect Logan Paul, he doesn't respect him as a fighter, and he doesn't respect him as a man either. So a lot of bad blood. I'm excited to see this fight. It's going to be really interesting to see who comes out swinging. But with Logan Paul having that one loss under his belt, it's not looking too good for him, especially losing to a YouTuber nonetheless. I don't see him winning against a world-class fighter. Yes, he's been training. Yes, he's been doing everything he can to make sure he's prepared and ready for this fight. So we'll see. Maybe we'll be surprised. Could be a Poirier-McGregor situation. And that fight is coming up soon, too. They got round 3 coming up here in July. So I'm really excited for that fight, too. We'll talk about that one here probably in a couple weeks when it gets closer to the time. But I'll leave it at that, guys. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions, send them our way, betwithjin@gmail.com, or find us on social media throughout our link tree, and that's posted everywhere, so you should have no trouble finding that. But yeah, I'll leave it at that, guys. Thank you again for tuning in to this edition of Gin and Tonic. I'm your host, as always, John J. II. Have a great night.